when we see what Pakistan has emerged into and what Pakistan's stature is, do you think that this is really a very shameful situation for India, and especially India's foreign policy, the way Prime Minister Modi has handled it?
You see, our government committed the mistake by unilaterally gravitating towards Israel and US during the first 3 days of the war. It committed a grave mistake by not condemning the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei and the assassination of 176 plus girls in a school. Iran was our friend, and suddenly Mr. Modi, without any consultation within the country, without any prior indication, just swerved away from Iran and became it as a lackey partner of US and Israel.
Now time to look back at the kind of statements which came from the foreign minister also. You remember the all-party meeting where he had called Pakistan a Dalal state. That was the kind of statement which he made. Now, is it time now to also react to a statement like this? Do you think that there will be some sort of a regret on the part of the Indian government as far as their policy towards Pakistan has been?
You see, history will record these statements of Mr. Jaishankar as something that the country will be ashamed of.
But Gurdeep, do you think that India still has a scope of retrieving its position? Because this 14 days ceasefire is an interim ceasefire, and where Pakistan will be working on the final shape of the deal. We do not know what shape is it going to take, because it's a 10-point peace plan which has been offered. There are lots of terms and conditions to which both sides have to agree. Now, can this period, this interim period of 14 days, can it be used by India to wean away whatever it has lost from the hands of Pakistan? Do you think that there is any space left for that?
Well, you see, the way you framed the question, that is too simplified. Despite the mistakes committed by Mr. Modi and his government, the stature of India as a nation in the international committee still is there. Our moral positioning is still there. It's not all gone. As a nation, we have a legacy, we have a history.
Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversation. The biggest story of the world is that the ceasefire has been announced. It's a temporary ceasefire of 14 days, which was announced by President Donald Trump. It looks like an 11th hour deal where both President Donald Trump and Iran have portrayed the last minute ceasefire deal as a victory for their nations. Ceasefire pauses a spiraling conflict that has upended the global economy and sparked a historic oil crisis. Now, what about the Strait of Hormuz? That becomes the next question. Iran's military will coordinate the passage of vessels through the critical Strait of Hormuz during the ceasefire. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi has said this, and Trump said that reopening the strait was a key condition of the ceasefire deal. Now, what happens next? Pakistan's Prime Minister has invited delegations from both Iran and the US to Islamabad for talks on Friday. And earlier Tuesday, Pakistan had proposed 2-week ceasefire to allow for diplomacy. Now, Lebanon has not been included. Israeli military today said that it will continue its intensified ground operations against the Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office has claimed Lebanon was not part of the ceasefire, despite Pakistan's Prime Minister saying it is. So this is the crux of the situation right now. But what we should be worried as a country like India is the tweet which was put out by Donald Trump. And in very clear words, the very first sentence acknowledges the efforts put by Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir. I'm just going to read out what Donald Trump said. The very first line says, based on conversations with Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir of Pakistan, and wherein they requested that I hold off the destructive force being sent tonight to Iran and subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate, and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. This will be a double-sided ceasefire. The reason for doing so is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives and are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace with Iran and peace in the Middle East. We received a 10-point proposal from Iran and believe it is a workable basis which is to negotiate. Almost all of the various points of past contentions have been agreed to between the United States and Iran, but a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. On behalf of the United States of America, as president and also representing the countries of the Middle East, it is an honor to have the long-term problem close to a resolution. Thank you, Donald Trump. This is what he has said. Now, what does this moment actually mean for India? Is there a reason to celebrate for India? Because obviously the crisis is over. A 39 days war, which has ended, it also brings an end to the crisis which India was facing as a nation, as far as the oil and the gas crisis is concerned. But diplomatically, is India at its weakest footing? That is what the question we are asking. For us, Pakistan was a rogue nation. It was a terror state, which we as a nation have always been criticizing. Remember Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, how he had isolated Pakistan on the global stage. But where has Prime Minister Modi landed Pakistan on a stature which the world is acknowledging today? This is what we'll be talking about over the next half an hour. So joining me this evening is a very special guest, Congress admin in charge and CWC member Gurdeep Sappal joins us. Gurdeep has been writing consistently on this Iran-Israel war and crisis which India is facing. Thank you so much, Gurdeep, for joining. And my first question to you is, what do you feel after looking at Donald Trump's tweet, where in the first line, he acknowledges the efforts put by Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and also Asim Munir?
Well, first of all, the entire world is relieved that there is some way forward in this conflict. It may be a temporary one, it may be a pause in the conflict to explore the solution, but the entire world was at the receiving end. And we were all worried after yesterday's Trump's threat to Iran, where he used some very, very objectionable phrases like he wanted to obliterate a whole civilization. And from there, within few hours, this proposal for truce is something as a big relief. The fact that it has been brokered by Pakistan should be a cause of worry, because now there's an access of China, Pakistan, USA, and this access is worrisome for us because our friend was Iran. Iran was not friendly with Pakistan. We were friendly with Pakistan. Modi government has ceded that space. That space is now with Pakistan. And that is something which should worry our policymakers. All our diplomats today must be actually really worried about how India has handled the entire thing, given up its role in international arena and given up its moral position in international arena, and also has stepped back from both sides of friendship. We are just a bystander. जिसको हिंदी में कह सकते हैं, आज की एक गाना याद आ रहा है कि कारवां गुजर गया गुबार देखते रहे. So this is the situation which sums up the position of Indian government today.
Gurdeep, for the last 39 days, what we have seen on the part of the Indian government is that Prime Minister Modi has been dialing telephones to the Gulf countries. He's been speaking to Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, and he's also been using 2-3 very cliched sentences that we believe in dialogue and diplomacy. Now, what about those efforts? Because they were trying to make it visible that India is trying to put in efforts, India is trying to stop the war. But when we see what Pakistan has emerged into and what Pakistan's stature is, do you think that this is really a very shameful situation for India, and especially India's foreign policy, the way Prime Minister Modi has handled it?
You see, our government committed the mistake by unilaterally moving towards gravitating towards Israel and US during the first 3 days of the war. It committed a grave mistake by not condemning the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei and the assassination of 176 plus girls in a school. Iran was our friend, and suddenly Mr. Modi, without any consultation within the country, without any prior indication, just swerved away from Iran and became it as a lackey partner of US and Israel. After a few days, when it became clear that Iran is not giving up, after a few days, when it became clear that the regime change is not happening, that Iran is not going to be facing the same fate that of Venezuela, so then some wisdom dawned and some correctives were taken by government of India. But by that time, Modi government had lost the maneuvering space that could have been used by for India's intervention in this matter, because we were the nation which were historically poised for proper intervention. We were the nation which were on goodly, friendly terms with all the nations involved in the conflict, be it Iran, be it US, be it Israel, or be it the Gulf countries. So that maneuvering space was for India, but by an inexplicable turn that Mr. Modi took in the first 3 days of this war, that opportunity was lost, and it is lost. And unfortunately, the beneficiary was Pakistan. And suddenly, Pakistan, whom Modi government wanted to make a Pahariya state, a state which sponsors terrorism in India, suddenly that state of Pakistan is now seen as a lead nation negotiating between the various parties, despite their troubled history with Iran. So this is something which should worry now even the Modi government.
Right. I mean, if you're there backstage, can we have that statement which was put out by Tehran? Because that is also very important. And then we'll try and make a comparison of what Donald Trump has said in his post. And this is the official statement of Iran on the screen for you, where they say, on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I express gratitude and appreciation for my dear brothers, Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shahbaz Sharif, and Field Marshal Munir for their tireless efforts to end the war in the region. In response to the brotherly request of PM Sharif to his tweet, and considering the request by the US for negotiations based on the 15-point proposal, as well as announcement by POTUS about acceptance of the general framework of Iran's 10-point proposal as a basis for negotiation, I hereby declare on behalf of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, if attacks against Iran are halted, our powerful armed forces will cease their defensive operations. For a period of 2 weeks, safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz will be possible via coordination with Iran's armed forces and with the consideration of technical limitations. This is what Syed Abbas Araghchi, who's Iranian foreign minister, has written as an official statement put out by Tehran. Gurdeep, now look at Donald Trump's tweet and then you look at the Tehran statement. Are both the countries sending out a very, very clear message to India? Not in very clear terms, but it's there for everyone to see.
No, this is not a hidden fact anymore, that India was not on the table and Pakistan was on the table. This is not a hidden fact anymore. What it should force the Modi government to do introspection. Why did we arrive at this stage? Where did we miss the bus? And problem with Mr. Modi is, and in general with RSS and BJP, is that they think that whatever this country has achieved in the last 70 years during Congress rules was something that they cannot appreciate or that they cannot take experience from. The entire positioning of BJP RSS is that everything that this country has done should be undone and now redone. They have taken the wisdom from US and Israeli intelligence and were misled by them, but they failed to go by the advice and the experiences and the wisdom which was in-house, because India has played an important role internationally, not now, not in the last few decades, but right after independence. We were a moral force. What India was, India's entire foreign policy is a legacy of Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru. And even when we were a very poor nation, even when there was nothing in India, we were a very poor economy. We were just developing as a new republic. When the country was even uh, disintegrated into princely states, even at that juncture, we had a voice. We had a powerful voice because that voice was based on a morally principled stand. And plus, added to that, the self interest of India as a nation. These two things were always there. Now, respect for that position. Earlier, also, in matters of Ukraine Russia war, they had to fall back again on the non aligned positioning. And now, also, now they realize that whatever they try to undo in that policy has not worked for India. In fact, it has pushed the Vishguru out of the entire procedure. And this is not happening for the first time. Earlier, when the US exited from Afghanistan and handed over the reins to Taliban, and India was a major player in that time. We were rebuilding. We were in the entire parliament, the capacity building of the Afghanistan. We were a major player. We had invested billions of dollars in Afghanistan. But when this decision happened, Pakistan was on the table, China was on the table, Russia was on the table, but India was not there. So it has been happening repeatedly. The claims of Vishguru do not align with the real achievements or real story of the foreign policy of this government. And this is a repeat of that.
Gurdeep, today it's also now time to look back at the kind of statements which came from the foreign minister also. You remember the all-party meeting where he had called Pakistan a Dalal state. And that was the kind of statement which came. Now, is it time now to also react to a statement like this? Do you think that there will be some sort of a regret on the part of the Indian government as far as their policy towards Pakistan has been?
You see, history will record these statements of Mr. Jaishankar as something that the country will be ashamed of. We should not forget one statement that he gave a few years back when asked how to combat China. He said, China is a very powerful nation. What can we do? And you see the statement of Iranian foreign minister when he said that US troops will be coming. He said, let them come. Let them come. They'll see what happens to them. The language of confidence, the language of self-esteem, the language of a nation which is assured of itself is always missing in the statements recently given by Mr. Jaishankar. And now, when he tried to do a glib talk and try to ridicule Pakistan by saying that it's a Dalal nation, then what Mr. Jaishankar was doing, it was trying to cover up the failure, but also dissociating from all the achievements of Indian nation in past 7.5 decades. India was always a powerful voice. We are the ones who non-aligned movement against the major players of the Cold War. So was that a Dalali or was that leadership? We were always there in the forefront when the entire Africa was fighting against apartheid. We were a powerful voice in support of the movement against apartheid when the anti-imperialism movement was going on in the world after we became independent. We were the biggest supporters of that movement. So we were never afraid of what US would do or that time what UK or French or Spanish will do. They were powerful nations that time. India was never afraid. This statement coming from Foreign Minister of India earlier that we were, what can we do with a powerful nation? And now that any leadership in negotiations is a act of dalali is something very shameful. Now what is happening is that you have ceded that entire space to a country whom you wanted to isolate. Let us not forget how Dr. Manmohan Singh isolated Pakistan after the Mumbai attacks. The entire world stood with India. Major Pakistan allies, they criticized Pakistan's action that time. And now what happened under Mr. Modi? That after Operation Sindoor, where after Pahalgam attack, which was, and after Mr. Modi sent teams of all party MPs throughout the world to place India's position, an election takes place in United Nations Security Council for its rotating chair. Pakistan gets 182 votes. Only 2 nations voted against Pakistan other than India. So India had only two allies effectively. And Pakistan, whom we were trying to isolate as a promoter, as a protector of terror in India, was elected as a as the chairman of the UN Security Council. Pakistan, which was on FATF list as recently as 2018 for supporting terror, is now leading the negotiations in UN and leading negotiations in Iran war. How this happened? This country has to ask the question. And the problem is that the entire brilliance of foreign external affairs ministry, entire wisdom of our diplomats has been reduced to just organizing events for Prime Minister Modi when he's abroad. Other than that, there's no other achievement in foreign policy of this government in last 12 years. Today, see, every nation, even Bhutan is now aligning more and more with China. Bhutan is giving China space to build infrastructure, overseeing the chicken neck which connects the mainland with the northeastern states. This never happened before. Maldives, the government contested on an agenda that said that they will force India out, and then they won, and India had to vacate that space. Bangladesh today is not with India. It was an ally, which was our ally since its creation as a nation, and it's not with India. Nepal, the new regime which has come, has no links with India. India always had a role in Nepal. It's not there. So it's not one area. And last thing I'll say, India last year was the chairman of G20. This year it is the chairman of BRICS. What was the role of the chairman? It was to use this platform to bring around these nations to the negotiating table. That was the platform was with India. The past credibility was with India. The moral stature was of India. But the day Mr. Modi decided that despite being the chairman of BRICS, in effect, BRICS was created to counter the hegemony of US, and India was the chairman of BRICS, and not just chairman, India is the country which shaped BRICS, which conceptualized BRICS. And Mr. Modi diluted it and went to US. And that is why he has lost all the space to negotiate, to maneuver, and to ensure that India's stature is enhanced in the International Committee of Nations.
But Gurdeep, do you think that India still has a scope of retrieving its position? Because this 14 days ceasefire is an interim ceasefire, and where Pakistan will be working on the final shape of the deal. We do not know what shape is it going to take, because it's a 10-point peace plan which has been offered. There are lots of terms and conditions to which both sides have to agree. Now, can this period, this interim period of 14 days, can it be used by India to wean away whatever it has lost from the hands of Pakistan? Do you think that there is any space left for that?
Well, you see, the way you have framed the question, that is too simplified. Despite the mistakes committed by Mr. Modi and his government, the stature of India as a nation in the international committee still is there. Our moral positioning is still there. It's not all gone. As a nation, we have a legacy, we have a history, and we have the economic wherewithal, and we have the ties with all the three countries. So it is not that India cannot mistake and cannot get back to that table. Issue is whether Modi government will accept that its sudden U-turn towards US and Israel was a mistake. The issue is whether Mr. Modi will try to do a serious introspection of what went wrong and then make corrections. The nation will stand with him, because in matters of foreign policy, the entire nation has always stood one. So it is not a matter of Congress versus BJP or ruling party versus opposition party. It is a question of nation. But the issue is that at no stage government has done any consultation with other stakeholders in India, with other political parties. It has done no briefing of parliament of actual why it took U-turn. It has done no debates in the parliament. There are no interviews from the prime minister or from the foreign minister. There are no statements explaining why India did not condemn the death of Ayatollah Khamenei. The only band-aid treatment is being done after they realize that Iran is here to stay, after they realize that their initial position was faulty. So they have been trying to quietly put band-aids on the foreign policy, trying to correct it. That will not help. First of all, you have to accept that things have gone awfully wrong. And then come discuss in parliament, come discuss with the nation, people of this nation. We are a strong nation. We are the nuclear power. We are the economic power. We are the closest partners of Iran. Pakistan is not. Iran supported India against Taliban in 90s. Iran supported India against intrusion of Taliban, its influence in Kashmir in 90s. Iran supported India to give a trade route in response to China-Pakistan economic corridor. Iran has been with India when India required oil. Iran has been with India in all major events, barring one or two where we also did some wrong decision. They also did. That happens within the nations. But largely, Iran was not with Pakistan. Iran was always with India. But we have lost that in the recent days. Everything is not lost. It's a mature nation. The statements of Iran during the war, they reflect that they understand the difference between India as a nation, people of India, and the government of India. They make this very clear distinction. Now, the challenge is for the Modi government to align its policy with what India as a nation thinks, with what people. You do a survey in India today. You talk to people on the streets. They all say that US was doing wrong to Iran. They all say that. Nobody accepts this position of Modi government, which it took in initial days, that we are with Israel and US. The sympathy of common people, even of BJP supporters, they say Trump Trump is trying to repeat Holocaust. This is what the common sense on the streets of India is. The challenge for Modi government is to align its policy with what India today is thinking, what India today is expressing. And India is for moral positions. Moral position is that Iran was attacked by Israel and the US. It was an unequal war. Despite all the might with US and Israel, Iran stuck its nets out. It fought back, and it has forced US to call truce on the agenda, which is dictated by Iran. The entire war started by saying that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons. And now one of the negotiating points is that Iran will work on the negotiating point is Iran will work on nuclear program under NPT treaty. The entire thing was that the Hormuz Strait was open. It was free for everybody. And now it will be reopened, but there will be a toll up to $2 million per ship. The trade was going in dollars, petrodollars. Now the trade is going in yuan. The trade was what has US achieved out of it? People understand that. One day, Donald Trump, the president of US, he says that he will obliterate the civilization of Iran. And today the statement comes that a great period is coming up for Iran, a golden period where Iran will be a huge construction opportunities are there. People understand this, and people do not appreciate what Modi government did.
It's like many hours since the time the official announcement of the ceasefire came by Donald Trump. We have not seen India reacting. We've not seen MEA reacting, and I'm wondering what their line of defense will be. Is this a very tricky situation now for India to even respond to a situation which has been engineered and manufactured by them?
Well, as it say कि दुनिया तो चलेगी अपनी चाल पे, आप आंख मूंद के बैठे रहिए. You can't have an ostrich-like approach to the entire situation. The thing is that whatever was happening during the war and whatever peace agreement will be signed later, or if it fails, the war resumes, In all these situations, there will be a huge impact in on Indian economy, on Indian diaspora, on India's neighborhood, on India's relationship with China and Pakistan, India's energy security, India's markets. Everything will be impacted by it. So by just pretending that there's nothing which is happening which has impact on India and we can keep quiet, this is not the sign of a mature governance. I understand that the government of India comes up with a considered view, takes some time, but that time cannot be in indefinite delay. That's unacceptable, because this was a war which was touching the lives of every person throughout the world. And now I think the embarrassment of watching Pakistan on the negotiating table, watching Pakistan doing something that India could well have done, the embarrassment is written large over the entire Indian political, BJP's political scenario. They may be embarrassed. But having said that, a mistake was done, it needs to be corrected and accepted and move forward.
Now, I don't know whether India will accept its mistakes, whether it will actually acknowledge what went wrong with the foreign policy. But I think in one of your articles, which you wrote recently, I don't remember the newspaper, where you said that India was one of those nations which was facing the severest of this crisis, whether it was gas, whether it was oil. And now, when the crisis is over, there is relief for at least the citizens. And keeping aside what the foreign policy or what diplomacy has been all about, is it now time for India to thank? And whom is it going to thank? Is it going to thank Pakistan? Is it going to thank Iran? Is it going to thank America?
No. When a war is going where you had no role, but you are getting impacted and that war is paused, there's no question of thanking anybody. Question is acknowledging what is happening. Question is whether you had the space to maneuver this peace process. There's no question of thanking anybody, any situation, any side. Because in this war, the aggressor was only one side. The other side was protecting itself. So do you want to thank US and Israel for stopping a war that was an unjust war started by them? Or do we want to thank Iran that, oh, you defended yourself well and now you have agreed to a truce? No, these situations will come. Or do we thank the negotiating country? It's not like that. Issue is, the fact remains that in India, everybody is breathing a sigh of relief, because our economy, our diaspora, our energy security, everything was under stress. And this is something that nobody would like to suffer. No nation, no individual. So this is something that brings a big relief to our nation today.
You rightly pointed out that India is embarrassed to see Pakistan at the negotiating table. But my last question to you, Gurdeep, is that who walks away with the credit? Will Pakistan walk away with the credit that they tried to help stop this war, which was raging for the past 39 days?
You see, we have to understand one thing, that Pakistan has always been aligned with the US. So much so that in India, we can call it's a Pithu Desh of US. And the relationship that US and Pakistan have since 1947 is very different, which India never accepted. India never accepted to be a lackey nation of US. So Pakistan, if it does, largely it is also on the basis of its relationship with US, which is not of equals. It's a relationship of unequals. Our complaint with Modi government is that you tried to be a lackey nation of US, forgetting whatever India stood for in last 7 decades. You tried to outdo Pakistan in what Pakistan was doing. And you fell between two stools. And then you had to take a U-turn. So this is what is the problem. Pakistan has a different relationship with the US. Pakistan has never been a mature democracy. Pakistan, throughout its independent history, has largely been a military dictatorship. Pakistan is intermingled. The entire system of Pakistan is intermingled with US intervention. So we cannot equate ourselves with Pakistan. India is not Pakistan. India
Right.
was made independent and on the same day, a day after, technically, in 1947. But since 1947, we had our independent foreign policy. We were independent nation, very self-assured, who had a different say from either US or even Soviet Union at that time or any other forces. So India's position was different. Our this thing is that we have given up this position. India was a moral voice. India said what was wrong as wrong and what was right as right. This is something that has been given up. So we will never equate, we will never appreciate what Pakistan has been doing because there's a different background to that. But
No, but
what they are doing is being talked about throughout the world. The entire
right.
world is talking about it. Its role is there to see. But this role was earlier reversed when US intervened and fought Operation Sindoor to be called off. Pakistan acknowledged it, the role of US. Our government is opaque that you allow US to intervene and you do not acknowledge it. Trump keeps on mocking our prime minister, and prime minister does not respond to it. So
But
how did
Gurdeep,
we become such a weak nation?
right.
Why did this entire thing come to this juncture that Trump humiliates India? Trump sends Indians in chains to illegal India. Trump mocks our prime minister. Trump forces India to sign a unfair trade deal, and India still stands with Trump. And then when it sees that it's not working out, then tries to take a step back and reestablish its ties with Iran. These are the signs of a government which has lost its mojo. It's a sign of government which is under duress, and for whatever reason, be it Epstein, be it Adani, or any other reason, or maybe they have a blinkered view of the world because they have been taking their entire guidance right from the inception of RSS in 1920s, from Mussolini to Israel now. They do not believe in the inner strengths of India. They do not believe in what Indian intelligentsia, what Indian bureaucracy and diplomacy, what Indian state has done or offers a solution. They look towards Israel now, and they have been drastically misled by Israel. They have been drastically misled by Trump, and that is why today they are in a situation that a statement also is not there before the country on the entire development.
One quick question before I wind up the interview, Gurdeep, that now, is there a scope left for now India to negotiate with Israel? Because Netanyahu is not in a mood to relent. Do you think that this period, this interim period of 2 weeks or a fortnight, can be used by India to prevail upon Netanyahu and bring a final closure to the deal, which is still in progress as far as Pakistan is concerned? Remember those meetings which happened in Islamabad? They didn't fructify in anything which was very tangible. Now again, Pakistan has renewed its efforts. So now can India intervene and give a final closure and take an upper hand as compared to Pakistan?
No, the issue is whether Israel or Iran are requesting India to intervene. Or will India go man na man, main tera mehman? You see, these are international relationships. Do we have that credibility left today to nudge out Pakistan and take that space? Do we have that today? Does Israel have that intention to stand and say, I'll deal with India now, and I will not deal with Pakistan or any other interlocutor? These things are not happening that way. Issue is, these are not something that can be answered in one line. These are complex issues of diplomacy in which so far Modi government has failed. So far, they have given the opportunity to Pakistan. They have legitimized Pakistan nation as a peacemaker. Pakistan, which was a terror sponsor till recently. Pakistan, which was on FATF list because of support to terror groups. That Pakistan today is coming across as a harbinger of peace, as a nation that is working out solutions. This space has been surrendered to Pakistan by Modi government. Issue is whether US, whether Iran in this case, or Israel, are they prepared to include India's role as a negotiator? Because all three do not have this confidence today that India will stand by what it says and what it does. There's a discrepancy between what Modi government had been saying in past, what it did during the initial days of war, what it did subsequently, and what it tried to explain to nation. And will Modi government go back on its word and say, now we are prepared to be Dalal? Issue is, will Modi government say to the nation, okay, now because Pakistan is succeeding, so we will also be willing to be Dalals? So if they say so, then it's a different question.
But indeed, it's a very, very tricky situation now for India to see Pakistan in a lead mediator role and sitting at the negotiating table, finalizing things. But we'll have to wait and see how India reacts to this situation. Till then, we look out for whatever statements are coming out from Modi's ministers or Modi himself, or maybe as Jaishankar speaks on it, we'll have to see, or whether MEA does a briefing on this. We do not know, but we'll have to keep a close watch. Thank you so much, Gurdeep, for joining on HW News. Thank you.
Thank you.